Yeah, so justice officials are focusing on safety and threats to voters. Plus, Hurricane Ian, of course, obviously forced a lot of changes to the way that elections will look. This election, voters in Fort Myers and really all across Lee County are casting votes while still recovering and rebuilding from the devastation of Hurricane Ian.
Fox 4 Investigates' Katie LaGrone is in Fort Myers with more on how the elections are moving ahead nearly 6 weeks after that historic hurricane left so much of our region in ruins.
Yeah, hey guys, we are outside the Lee County Election Center here in Fort Myers, where early voting officially ends at 6 o'clock this evening. But you can see behind me there are a few stragglers here online trying to get ballots in before the deadline. We are told as long as you were online by 6 o'clock, all these individuals will be able to cast their ballots before Election Day. Of course, these are all early voters who are taking advantage of that special extended early voting time granted by the governor specifically to counties most impacted by Hurricane Ian. As voters cast their ballots at this voting site in Lee County Monday, just feet away are the piles of rubble, ripped and tattered screens, fences, and still so much debris. It's all among the remains of Hurricane Ian, nearly 6 weeks after the storm made history here.
There's a lot of displaced voters. You know, you talk about Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel, they were devastated. But the entire county was affected, and there's people displaced all over.
As a result, the county has also had to adjust how and where voters can cast their ballots, explains the county's supervisor of elections.
We're only going to have 12 sites on Election Day, where we normally have 97.
Those 12 sites, early voting locations, which will remain open through Election Day under an emergency executive order issued by the governor to ease voting in counties slammed by Ian.
Everybody got damaged.
Thank you. Early voters we spoke with determined to cast their votes despite dealing with their own losses. Paul Griffin doesn't have a roof.
If you don't vote, then you don't have a say-so.
Neither does Ed Jetty.
I always physically come and vote. It's just a routine I've been doing my whole life.
In this predominantly Republican county, most voters we spoke with tell us the hurricane didn't have much impact on their vote.
They got those people down and in boots out there ASAP, and I think that's phenomenal.
This has been terrible, honestly. I don't know anyone that's gotten help.
But gave them one more reason to show up. And as of a little short time ago, just over 45% of registered voters here in Lee County have already cast their ballots either early or vote by mail. Typical turnout for midterm elections is about 60% in this area. And so we will see what tomorrow brings. But remember, tomorrow we have so many reduced polling locations from 97 to now just 12 polling locations. So the biggest concern for voters who have not been able to cast their vote early will be those long lines tomorrow. For now, we are live in Fort Myers. Katie LaGrone, back to you.
Definitely a sizable impact. Thank you for that live report, Katie. Keeping with election security, the Lee County Sheriff is offering some safety tips leading up to Election Day tomorrow. The Sheriff's Office posting this on Facebook earlier today. And the first, try and vote when it's the least busy tomorrow to also avoid those lines and the heat, as the forecast for Tuesday will be in those high 80s. And the next point is more of a warning, as you will wait in line tomorrow. That's according to LCSO, so be ready for that because of the hurricane. Again, as Katie LaGrone reported, only 12 polling places all throughout Lee County. And because of that, the Elections Office is encouraging people to vote early. And this year's election, again, going to be unlike any other that we've ever seen before. And much of that also comes down to the heavily reduced number of polling places tomorrow. So to take a deeper look at that for Election Day, Ryan Kruger has been following those details and the changes to tell you more. So what should voters take with them for tomorrow?
All right, so the biggest changes are going to be in Lee County. Now check this out. Normally you've got 97 polling locations. You see those dots all over Lee County? Well, those are all going to be closed. So instead, take a look at this graphic that our team made showing the average number of polling places available in Lee County on a regular year. That's 95, 97, spanning all the way from Boca Grande down to Bonita Springs. But because of the devastating effects of Hurricane Ian on Southwest Florida, those polling locations have been reduced to just 12. Plus, there is an auxiliary location on Boca Grande. If you're a Lee County voter, you can go to whichever one of these is most convenient for you. So if you work in Cape Coral but live in Fort Myers, maybe you can vote there. But expect long lines regardless of where you go. As many as 100,000 people could show up to vote tomorrow in Lee County if turnout meets normal levels. And then there's Charlotte County, a similar situation to Lee County, just a little bit less though. Only 6 polling locations had to be moved. We're going to put them all on your screen right now. If you normally vote at the Mid-County Regional Library, the Port Charlotte Beach Park, Port Charlotte Middle School, the Charlotte County Fairgrounds, Burnt Store Presbyterian Church, or the Lee Health Facility at Babcock Ranch, then your polling location has changed. The addresses of those new locations, again, they are right there on your screen. And in Collier County, only 2 polling locations had to change. Precinct 142, which is in Isle of Capri, those folks are now voting on Marco Island. Precinct 462 in Naples, that has been moved to Moorings Presbyterian Church. That's on Harbor Drive. Now, tomorrow is also the last day to drop off your mail-in ballot at one of the county's secure drop box locations. The ballots have to be received by 7 o'clock tomorrow evening when the polls close. Remember, there are changes this year. A new state law makes it a felony to take more than 2 ballots that belong to non-family members to a drop box location. Governor DeSantis, when he signed that legislation into law, said it would help secure elections. But some voting rights advocates say this could impact some voters. With local election leaders, normally Southwest Florida has around 60% turnout during midterm elections. They do expect that number to be down slightly. By the way, Chris, Edison Research, as a data analysis company, says while it may be down in our area, Florida voters have cast the second most ballots so far this year. 4.7 million ballots have been cast, at a second only to Texas, which has seen more than 5 million ballots casted so far.